Good morning, people. That was one of the best bass lines ever on that song Roundabout.
It's a tough one because it's really a cool intro, but it kind of starts out kind of, I don't know what to call that. It's like, darn, and then it quiets and then it does some stuff, but like you're leading up and then so it's interesting to listen to, but doesn't really work for the things. So it would take them like 30 seconds to get all through it. So I just picked that little piece out.
Again, good morning, people. Welcome to a Tuesday/Friday version of the Early Watch. Mostly Friday.
Holy shit, it's Friday. Yeah, it seems like Wednesday to me.
And thanks again for hosting this G-Webs.
Sure.
How are you this morning?
Fair to middling. Got a bunch done on the 2A project, so I'm digging that. Packaged up a bunch of stuff for the eBay, so now I guess it's Friday, so we got free patch Friday. Anybody wants to buy anything would be great. And if you do that, it'll make a noise on the phone here, and then you feel like you figured out some special way of using the internet because it'll be interactive. You'll hear a little noise, and it'll only cost you money. It's pretty fun. So anyway, there'll be free patch Friday, and I'll be putting a bunch of those knives up today. I've been putting that off, so I got to put those knives up. And I don't know. I got a bunch of videos. I posted a bunch of videos on these knives that I'm selling, and then I'll put them up on 24/7 Gun Show. So that's my Friday. What do you got planned today?
Not a goddamn thing. I ain't doing nothing.
What's it like up there? It's pretty hot down here, but it's overcast, so it's not super sunny, but it's still like 100, so it's annoying.
We start an official heat advisory, I think, at 6 o'clock tonight.
Oh, really? Because of that's up there, you're talking heat plus humidity, given that wet ball, or do they still call it wet ball?
The heat index.
Okay, we used to call it wet ball, and if that wet ball got hot enough or whatever, then you'd die. So they had a big, whatever, they watched that, and the temperature was one thing, but if you hit that other number, then it was like if you were gonna pass out or something, right?
Yeah, that they got some sort of calculation to figure in the humidity and making it feel like whatever. That's heat index. But I have physical issues that are medical issues that enhance all that shit. So that mid '90s stuff is not anything I'm going to be playing in. Too fucking hot for tone, I can tell you that. Now, on the other, if the humidity is not bad, I can handle 94 without no problem.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. Because honestly, it could be like 80 or something, right? And if it's enough humidity, then you might as well not want to go outside at all.
Yeah, it gets up above 90 and humid, and I can hardly breathe. Feels like you're breathing through a wet towel. What do we got lined up per day? Not a fucking thing.
Got any emails coming in from the nation?
I do. I have one concerning Florida. Running for governor in Florida. Oops, hold on.
You did something good. You got rid of that crazy open carry business restriction.
What they have in Florida is a guy, I'm assuming Democrat, running for governor in Florida, and he's going to ban assault rifles by decree.
Oh, well, that's good.
Or she, I guess it may be a woman. Yeah, Gwen Graham pledged to ban assault weapons sales using a little known state law. She says she has found a public safety statute that allows the governor, whoever she may be, to sign an executive order for public safety reasons banning the sale of all military style assault weapons. Yeah, and they
So
want to call Trump a fucking fascist.
they're saying there's a hidden state law that lets them do that.
That's what she's saying. And that was the big concern with Deerfield is they're trying to slide that into the storage law and get that banned that way. These motherfuckers are grabbing at every fucking straw they can find. And the fear is that they'll slip one in there and then that'll be the start of the landslide. That deal in Deerfield, they were saying that because the storage law existed before the preemption, then they can amend that law legally, regardless of the state's preemption law. Which I don't think that's going to fly, but you never fucking know these days.
Well, they can continue to make these crazy laws. I mean, I don't know how effective they think it's going to be. They're doing it as a stand or to prove a point or whatever that would be called, right? Precedent or whatever. So let them pull it, and then when it gets knocked down, when it gets knocked down, then it's precedent that it doesn't work, right? So I mean, they got to bring stupid stuff once in a while so that it can get officially knocked down. Is that the way to say it?
Possibly. I don't know that they
I mean,
think it's.
and then I don't know. Certainly not the first time. What's going on with Skokie? Skokie used to have that crazy law.
I have no idea. I don't know. I just completely ditched my train of thought. I don't know where the fuck I was going. Completely blank.
So I typed in Skokie gun law into Google, and for some reason it comes up with this blurb from Wikipedia. Illinois has state preemption for the transportation of handguns and handgun ammunition. Non-Illinois residents are granted a limited exception to lawfully carry a concealed firearm within a vehicle if they are eligible to carry a firearm in public in the laws of their state. Huh. I had never heard that before. And I don't believe Wikipedia, so.
Well, it's wrong because out-of-state residents cannot carry a loaded weapon in their vehicle, period.
Period, exactly. Let alone a concealed. That's crazy.
Well, in the car, it's considered concealed.
Well, but you're not allowed to carry it in a car up front in Illinois, period, right? It has to be stupid federal, whatever, transport goods. What is that thing called? Anyway, you have to have it in the back seat or in the trunk and unloaded and all that crap.
It just, as far as I know, it just has to be unloaded, and enclosed in a case. DTP out there saying the problem is it takes 10 to 20 years to make it all the way to the Supreme Court sometimes. Yeah. And these piddly ass little city cases, they're probably not going to hear. They might want to weigh in for precedent. But I don't know. I think that our hope of getting something done in our favor is for them to review the discrepancy in the two, what do they call them? District courts, the fourth and the ninth, or the first and the ninth, one of them. There's a dead discrepancy between the way the two of these federal courts rule. And they're going to have to address that from where I sit. And I honestly, I don't remember what it is, but it is something firearms related that the ninth said was fine, and the other one said, no, you can't do that. It's a violation of the constitutional rights. I should keep a fucking notebook of this stuff because I can't remember it. I can remember stupid shit that doesn't matter. I've never lost a game of Trivial Pursuit, not ever. Because I can remember dumb shit. The Deerfield thing is more scary than the Florida thing because I don't think she stands a chance of being elected. But them going in and circumventing preemption law, they get by with that. That's going to really suck. Because then everybody could go in and pick some city statute that they put into effect and add gun storage to it. You know, you can't store these guns in town or some silly shit like that, and maybe get by with that too. I don't trust none of these motherfuckers.
So just curious about that. So 10-year thing. So I went over here and typed in Heller decision. And the Heller case was strategic, and it was, it was done with intent. So a guy called Robert Levy, who's a senior fellow at the Cato Institute, began vetting plaintiffs in 2002 because he wanted to personally finance a case to go to the Supreme Court. Not as a gun owner, he's never owned a gun, but as a constitutional scholar, he had an interest in the subject and wanted to model a campaign after the strategy of Thurgood Marshall, according to Wikipedia. So they aimed a group, or they looked for a group of, looked through the cases that were diverse in gender, race, economic background, and age. And they selected 6 plaintiffs from the mid-20s to their early 60s. 3 men, 3 women, 4 white, 2 black. They vetted them, and Heller was one that obviously went through the vetting or whatever. That was a solid case. It was brought to the Supreme Court in 2003. They did all the stuff they needed to do. In 2007, the Supreme Court said they were going to sit and accept it. Oral arguments and blah, blah, blah. The decision was finalized on October in 2008. So basically it took 6 years from the decision to pursue that area of interest till the result. So I don't want people rest in the complacency of, oh, it'll take 10 years. Because if you go to the Gun Rights Policy Conference, I've been to it twice now, I've listened to it for more years than that, and they'll tell you that they've got the money and they've got the lawyers. What they need are the people, the plaintiffs. So in this case, it was a guy who helped push that through. But then there was McDonald, and there's been others. So we're not defeated, and we're not out of options. And it doesn't take 10 years; it takes 7 years.
I'm not trying to say we're defeated. I'm not even trying to come off with a defeatist attitude. That's not.
Oh no, I hear you. I just figured I'd throw that out there. Insight.
I think the Supreme Court looks at stuff that can have the most wide reach. And that's why they haven't taken up some of this stuff in California. Because it's not wide enough in scope to, I don't know, be worthy of a Supreme Court case, I suppose. But at some point, they're going to have to look at the discrepancy in the appellate courts. I mean, they can't leave that stand, because that's basically saying the law's one way on the east side of the country and another way on the west side of the country, federally speaking, and that can't stand.
Patriots asking, I have a friend from Texas. She's going to get her non-resident license from Illinois. She says she's going to Illinois to take the test. That's how I understand you have to do it. It's $350 or something, and you have to go to Illinois to take it, but you can get a non-resident Illinois concealed carry, correct?
Yes. I
Possible.
think you
If I
can
had
get
extra
it if
money,
you
I
have.
would have it.
She just needs to contact the Illinois State Police and look at the non-resident um, information there because
Sounds like she's already
the
got it planned or whatever. He was just double checking that that's the case, I think.
I just uh, forwarded that information to Liberty Cat a few days ago.
Oh, okay.
Uh, so if it's her, then I've already talked to her about it. But I don't know that you have to be here. I think there's certain states that the criteria is close enough to suit Illinois, which means damn near exactly the fucking same.
Oh, I thought I understood that they didn't have, um, so like other states like Utah will allow somebody in any state to become a Utah instructor. I thought that Illinois did not allow out of state instructors. So that sort of by default means you got to go to the state to get the training. I didn't
I
think accepted equivalent, you know, whatever training as,
I have never heard before right now that you had to come to this state to get it.
oh, okay. Then
That's the
maybe
case.
I haven't looked into it.
I haven't looked into it, you know, to be honest with you, because I have no need. I live in this fucking hole. But that wouldn't surprise me on one hand that Illinois is that fucking stupid for sure. Uh, but you know, you think guys from fucking Washington are going to come here to get their permit? No, hell no. I'm pretty sure, and I'll look into it and find out today that if you're from a state that has comparable requirements for the concealed carry, that you can get it without going to Illinois. And I may be lying through my fucking teeth. I don't really know. Damn, my shoulders are killing me this morning. Wife beats me in bed with a baseball bat while I'm sleeping. G Webs walk away or did I get booted?
Oh no, that was me. I had to go close up the house. It's getting to be hot again. Open up everything at night so that it can cool down. Got to 88 tonight. Got pretty cool.
Mike, if you're out there listening, has there been any more counties on this gun sanctuary thing in Illinois?
Isn't 15 enough? Do you need 15 sanctuary cities to hunt deer?
Need all of them.
That's a good answer.
We know Chicago's never going to go there, so Cook County ain't going to do it. I don't know what other counties are up there. Lake, they won't. I would say that the city or the counties around the Quad Cities, Rockford, Peoria County, quite possibly McLean County, because they're acting like they're a bunch of fucking leftists too. And Champaign County probably won't. Okay, thanks, dude. I haven't either. I guess I need to write another email to my county board president. What the hell's going on? I really can't remember to keep doing all this shit. You know, that there's so many little piddly things that you're doing here. It's hard to keep up with them. think I need a secretary or something.
Well, that's one of the things that conversations that keep going can be good for, like the comment period for the ATF and the bump stocks, reminding each other that we still got some time to, um, I guess, well, we can still comment, but we're able to, according to that ATF guy, you're able to comment more than once if you've got something else to add or something to reiterate. We still have a couple of, I guess, a couple weeks really to still put in our comments. So it's the kind of thing, like you say, that we can all help each other keep remembering things or to put effort in a direction or some other direction.
Yeah, I wrote them a nice comment explaining that I thought it was kind of stupid to ban a thing that's been used but one time in a crime that we know of.
Maybe. So then we were talking, was it in here or was it somewhere else about slam fires? So you get your old shotguns, right, where you could just hold the trigger and pump it, and those old slide fires would let you just basically, it would empty the magazine that way. And they used them real effectively in the wars when they were working in trenches, right? And to the point where the Germans got all mad about it. So that's one pull of the trigger, and then you do something to simulate full auto. So is that, or do you increase? You pull the trigger once, and then the more than one round goes off. So is that, are they going to interpret that act of slam fire in an old shotgun, 1897 shotgun, whatever it is?
No, because you have to rack the pump each time to get it to shoot.
Yeah, I guess.
It don't lights up. The Winchester 97 is kind of one of those that you love or hate. Now, I like the gun myself. I got a cousin that's got one that's immaculate. I think his is a takedown, but I'm not sure. I've never seen it apart.
They're all takedowns.
It's 30-inch full choke. The gun's is a natural pointer. It is a righty gun. It's got a little bit of stock offset to the left, which makes it a right-handed gun. Yeah, they did that shit back in those days. I don't know that they did it to make it right or left-handed, but it was pretty common to see a bit of stock offset. Could be just from shitty machinery. But that's one way you can adjust the fit to the thing. I do it with handguns sometimes. I change the width of the grips. If I want the gun to work well in my right hand, I'll put a thicker bit of grip on the right side of the gun. If I want to work in the left hand, I'll put a thicker grip on the left side of the gun. Move the gun's center, or the grip center in my hand. And it works really well. And I think on my Ubertis I did it, and I maybe put a 1/16 of an inch of offset on them, but I can feel it. One gun's for one hand, one gun's for the other. I don't know where the hell I come across that. Yeah, I know they only meet once a month, Mike, but their meeting was like the 29th of May. And I know that they had this on the books from about the 10th of May. So I just wonder if they brought it up for a vote or anything like that. I don't know how quickly the county board moves, to be honest with you. Probably not overly quick.
Probably determined by the number of requests or the sense of urgency or something like that.
Well, the president of the board specifically told me that I was not the first one to ask for this.
Oh, okay.
He didn't say how many, but he did say that I wasn't the first one to write him to get this done. And he was going to bring it up the next board meeting, which was a couple weeks ago now. Maybe they've done it and I just ain't found out. Hell, who knows?
Yeah, you'll be doing early watch one morning, and then they'll be like, "Oh, this county," and you'll be like, "Oh shit, that's my county."
I I hope so. I mean, this area is gun friendly. It really is. But we do have a couple of cities here that are. Well, I don't know. I shouldn't say that they're not gun friendly. I mean, we actually got advertisements running for a 50 gun raffle on TV here, which surprised me, but they do that. There's something else too. Oh, something not particularly gun related, but the Peoria Zoo uh, had a baby otter that they were looking for a name for, and they named the thing Winchester
Oh yeah.
after Annie Oakley, because the little otter's parents were Annie and Oakley.
Huh.
But a public zoo to name the thing after a gun.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's been a couple weeks ago, and this is the first I remembered it while I was on air to say it. But like I say, this is pretty gun friendly area. The one town, which is probably close to being the biggest town in this community, if not the biggest, is the one where all the gun shops are. And they're probably making a pretty fair chunk of their money in taxes from the sales of firearms. So they're not really going to want to fuck with that, I don't suppose. And I know the main gun shop I go to, good luck finding the time when it's empty to try to talk to the owner, because fuckers always got people there waiting at the goddamn door for the place to open.
That's because he opens at noon.
10.
That is still pretty late.
Yeah, he could open at 8 and do a thriving business. Yeah, that is very surprising coming out of Peoria. But I seen a thing where Baltimore, I think it was implementing the shot spotter, and the author of the article was pro-gun, or at least somewhat conservative, and he's going on saying how the shot spotter doesn't work, but Peoria has proved that it does work. What it doesn't do is get you convictions. But they do pinpoint shots really close to where they're coming from. I don't know how the hell it does it, but it does. I know of at least 3 times this year I've heard them say it was a shot spotter call, and they found the person who got shot there when they went there. So that shot spotter technology is effective. And the dude who invented it said it could be effective with silencers too. You just have to let it know what it's supposed to be listening for. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah. Because it's constantly listening, so that's weird. And like you say, they can tune it to a noise or a particular sound. So, I mean, they can tune it to fireworks, I think.
Yeah, they can tune it to where it won't recognize fireworks or cars backfiring.
Oh, I thought that's the whole point. I thought they can tune it so that it gets fireworks also.
Yeah, but they can tune it where it don't. So it doesn't, get false readings. Of course, fireworks are illegal here, so they'd probably be listening to that too.
They're illegal here too. So if you start launching off fireworks, though, they can come running. That would be another reason to, warn people or whatever.
But the naysayers, the shot spotters, say that, they confused for fireworks or car backfiring. Cars don't fucking hardly ever backfire.
Seriously.
When the fuck's the last time you heard one do it?
I mean, it happens, yeah, but not very rarely. I mean, not very often at all. And they almost
Yeah,
never just like boom out of nowhere. They're usually like boom, ba, 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 boom, or something, you know.
yeah. It's since they got away from points, ignitions, and carburetors, fucking backfires rarely occur. I've not heard one in years. Probably the last time I ever heard a backfire was when I made it by dropping the distributor in and trying to time it by ear. But that's just delving off the rails completely to something different. I don't take offense to the shot spotter thing like this guy did. Yes, I'm hugely pro gun, but I don't think the shot spotter thing is a problem for us.
Oh, I think it's a problem, but not for a while.
I feel a little creeped out about it after I heard the guy say as soon as he tells it what to listen for,
Right.
which means it can be listening for other shit that
It,
might be serious invasions of privacy.
well, exactly. And that's where, they go, oh, okay, we got these. I mean, I'm guessing they're talking about the microphone things right now on poles. We put these microphones on poles around town. If the noise goes off, we could triangulate it. Right? Okay, that sounds great. That's reasonable. And then next week they go, oh, guess what? It's way faster and better if we just put the microphones on police cars, because the police cars are always running around. We know where they are, and then we hear the noise and we get even better triangulation. It makes much more sense, and it's cheaper, right? Because we just put it on the police cars. Okay, great. Yeah, and then next it's oh well, if we just have every cell phone listening, then we really know where it is, and then they're just listening to your cell phones.
Yeah, I can see that that is a possibility in the future if they're not doing it already.
Well, I'm just saying the whole like getting the water warm and the frog and all that. Like, hey, why don't we just do this? It's no big deal. Hey, why don't we just do this? It's just a little better. And then they got you accustomed to it. They got you, it's like a salesman. They got you as a customer. Now they're just upselling you.
God, there was something I wanted to say that was bugged me far worse than ShotSpotter, and I can't remember what the hell it was now.
Was it about
Oh,
the okay,
speed cameras. Fucking video all over the goddamn place. Jesus Christ, people, we're sitting back letting them put fucking video every goddamn where.
well, it's not like we're letting a private company who gets paid by the government to put up cameras everywhere that doesn't have any kind of, you know, policing or regulation to know if they're literally watching, I don't know, where some girl drives through intersection to intersection, or, some ex boyfriend as he's driving from intersection to intersection, or where he might be going, or where a kid or a parent might be going, or I don't know, think of all the ruined birthday presents when you're watching your significant other go shop for you. Just seems like a real downer. Be abused.
I picked out traffic cams specifically because it was government. I don't have any idea how many are out there. I know
Well, that's the
there's,
thing. Well, I guess what are we talking about? Are we talking about the things that the traffic, like the city, will use to regulate traffic flow?
and that the cops use to catch speeders.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That at least out here, when they put up traffic cameras to catch speeders and people going through intersections and shit, that was a private company, and they just contracted. They came and sold it to the state, just like a monorail salesman, and we're like, hey, you want to make some quick money? All you got to do is tell us where your intersections are. We're going to put up these cameras, and then we'll tell you all about it. And that's how you could beat the things, because it was a private company and there was no police ever showed up in court. So there was all these like scams on how to get away from the actual persecution of it. But it was basically just a revenue gathering scheme. And then cities would sign up for it. This company would come in, and yeah, it was just some company with, minimum wage employees watching monitors that had access to, I don't know, every intersection that had one of these cameras, and there's it to such detail that they can pull drivers, or what do you call it, license plates off of cars. So that's what my concern is, that they're not even government. I mean, I don't want government doing it, period. I don't want anybody doing it, but I certainly don't want them outsourcing it to whoever the lowest bidder is, and whoever's the most unscrupulous to, be willing. That's the other thing. They were willing to put up these cameras at like the worst intersections. At least out here, it was the intersections with like the craziest yellows, or where, portions of the day no one's there, and there's portions of the day where every person in town has to go through there to commute, or to places where on the highway where the speed limit goes from 75 to 45 or something stupid. So they were definitely in speed traps, or whatever you call that.
Well, we have 2 in this small town that I live in.
Damn.
One of them has a bracket where it's parked up the street from me about 3 blocks, but there's several places where they got brackets so they can move them. And I've not ever got a ticket through a speed camera, so I don't want you to think I'm harping on it because I got busted. I just think that that's horse shit. Because, cop's going to catch speed, and that's one thing. With radar, a man sitting there pointing a gun at me. Fucking camera? No.
We had them, and they got rid of them. They took them to court and got rid of them, and all for those reasons I said, that it was just some company that came in and sold them to everybody. Phoenix was the last to get rid of them.
Ours are still here, or at least they were last time I headed out of town.
We had intersections that they would put them up permanently. And then they had this stupid minivan that they would put up, and they put this little sawhorse up to cause accidents like a block before the damn thing. And then the little van, and it was nothing but a bunch of cameras inside of a robot van that would park on the side of the road and then zap everybody going by. And if they were driving over the speed limit, ticket them.
Yeah, that kind of shit just don't fly to me.
So we got robot cars out here for Amazon. I guess Amazon drives stuff, robot cars in Arizona. How long before we got robot police?
All right, guys, let's start our personal EMP project.
Blow an EMP out your back of your license plate or something?
Oh, I think you could do it all right with, just one to cover like 4 square miles.
Oh, no. Just some sort of cone behind you, right? So that you'd knock out the police robot? Just keep driving?
Well, I want to kill them all in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
Or, in my case, both of them. But, it's not just that either. There's fucking video all over everywhere. How quickly after something occurs that's newsworthy do they pull up the surveillance video from lock down the damn street? And I think to myself, what the fuck is everybody thinking this is okay? Like having videos all through the ceilings of Walmart to prevent shoplifting. I get that. It's a shitload easier to watch a bunch of videos than it is to watch a goddamn store floor. And I get the security thing. But, man, we are giving away our privacy in leaps and bounds these days. And it is really unsettling. 88 inside, it won't get cooler. I could sleep in that. Okay, I think I need to refresh.
Yeah, that's one.
I couldn't sleep in that neither.
Yeah, it's pretty horrible. You just wake up in like a pool of sweat. As long as you drink like a quart of water before you go to bed, you're all right.
I can't sleep if it's above like 68.
All right, well, let's not think about that because that's horrible. So,
That was a fucking F5. There it is.
I was working on this two-way history project, and I don't think it was yesterday. It might have been yesterday. I think it was
That
after the show. Huh?
that reminds me, there's a couple of guys that I didn't see, and I might have just missed them. Uh, one of them didn't invent, but he made, and that's Eli Whitney. And the other one was that guy Dryce who made the needle gun. Drycey, say whatever.
I didn't put the needle gun in there because I didn't think of it, and honestly, I got at 52 right now. It's pretty stacked. Like I'm having to already make some decisions. It's not like I have extra slots yet. But Eli Whitney, I got an issue with, so I'm not putting him on there intentionally. But let me ask you this: who invented interchangeable parts? Who was responsible for the Industrial Revolution?
Uh, well, it depends on where you go for responsibility. Colt was the one that had the idea, but I think Eli Whitney is the one that got it going.
Well, Colt had the idea. Colt did it. Eli Whitney seen it and then went and did it. And all our textbooks give the credit to Eli Whitney. I'm convinced that that's 100% intentional because they don't want to give credit to Colt. They don't want to give credit to the Industrial Revolution, the end of disease, the end of labor, and all the stuff that are horrible labor practices, all the stuff that the Industrial Revolution brought to the planet is all from firearms, from the ingenuity of a firearms inventor. I don't think they want to put that out there.
Whitney and Colt should get some co-credit in that one because definitely Colt had the idea. Make all the damn things identical or the parts interchangeable. But Colt did not have the manufacturing to do it.
Depends on when you're talking about, and that's what'll be interesting because when I went to the NRA museum, the way they explained it, it was Colt, and then Whitney came along and also did it, but after. So, I mean, if it's findable, I'm going to dig into that because there's you've heard of the one of the ways that Colt was able to further his thing was when he went to Europe, I think. I can't remember if it was Europe or if it was England, but he went overseas with 6 guns and a pillowcase. And
that were the World's Fair in London.
London. Okay, so you know I'm talking about that story. He puts the guns apart and puts them back together, and everybody was impressed. I'm pretty sure that was before Eli Whitney's fucking cotton gin and Eli Whitney doing his interchangeable parts demo. So if Colt, in fact, did that demo before Eli Whitney, then I'm saying it's 100% Colt. And Eli Whitney is an engineered bullshit of the education system.
But Eli Whitney was also the manufacturer for Colt.
Well, big deal. That's anybody can do the work of making a thing. If Colt comes along and says, "Make me this thing," the guy who put it together doesn't get credit for making it. Colt's the guy who came up with the concept.
If what I read is true, only those 6 guns he took would do that.
Well, sure, because it was literally, this isn't like, hey, this is a concept and we've only got these, we only got the skills to make these 6. That was literally the beginning of that whole. People hadn't thought about that before. Everything was hand fitted, handmade. Nobody even thought about it. So yeah, I mean, it's not like
Jesus Christ. Ruger's still doing it. I can't believe that I can't buy a fucking cylinder from Ruger and put it in my gun.
Well, that's the same with revolvers. I mean, I don't know when they say Colt could do that. Yeah, 99% of the parts, but timing a cylinder, that's not something that's interchangeable on any gun that I know of.
It friggin' should be.
Well, and I don't know. Maybe it is something where they just inherently put a bit of over dimension in there because they know that they're going to give it to a gunsmith who's going to file it down. So they automatically start with it at the, most tolerant, what am I trying to say? Shifted to the most tolerance so that they have to remove something all the time.
Right. That's basically what the Ruger guy told me, that they had to.
Because there's no point in making it
into the frame.
Yeah, there's no point in making the perfect middle of the tolerance, perfect cylinder if there's always going to be some shift in tolerance in the gun, because then you might get a gun that needs something that you don't got. You have to add metal. You can't add metal to a cylinder, so they're going to make it a little bit bigger than it'll ever need to be So they always have to grind it down or file it down to fit the particular gun, right? So that might be the situation, and they just, I don't know, don't have the confidence or the interest in trying to make a perfect gun every time. Problem is, with a
I'm
revolver, try to make a perfect gun, you get a Dan Wesson, and the thing, you shoot it twice and you have to clean it because it's so precise that it can't handle dirt.
yeah, that's one of the things that people who are buying high-end 1911s don't quite get. Is yeah, the tolerances are really tight on those things, but that's not necessarily good.
No, they made them loose for a reason. A little bit loose, yeah.
A little looseness keeps that fucker functioning.
Oh, Patriots looking out for you. Said if you got one of them EMPs, you take yourself out. Got that Iron Man thing going with your pacemaker.
I can live without the pacemaker.
Oh, okay.
All it's doing is basically timing my cylinders.
Just start wearing like make t-shirts out of that Mylar space blankets, and then that way you'll be protected from a EMP.
You know, the big thing that I miss about stuff I can't do because I have a pacemaker? Fucking cordless drill.
Oh, that would piss me off, dude.
Oh, it did me too. And I didn't find out about that until after I had it put in. Now, I can use a cordless drill, but fucking cord's a bitch to drag around outside.
Oh, so what? It's something about the battery or something?
I guess.
It would be
I
the
don't give a
motor.
shit.
I figured it would be the motor making its waves or whatever.
It
But
might be, but it might be because the motor's running on direct current. It creates some sort of shit. I don't know.
you know, we talk about guns and stuff sometimes on gun channels, and sometimes we'll talk about what it's like in the olden days of guns. And I don't know who watches early watch. It seems like a bunch of old people. But how often do we talk about the olden days of tools? I can remember I lived in a house where there were contractors. We were I don't remember what it's like to not have to be going and getting nails or undumping shit into a bucket, you know, like garbage or like climbing into a fucking pipe to unclog some kind of shit or snot. Like I just always, every weekend was always doing something like that. So when I was a kid, when we'd frame a place, it was with hammers and fucking nails and climbing up on shit. And I'd have to go do stuff because I was littler kind of shit, you know, when I was little. And it was, oh, you fucking don't know how to nail? Well, start learning how to nail because you're fucking nailing all afternoon, you know? And if you didn't know how to use a screwdriver, like the best thing you had available ever was one of them screwdrivers with, I don't know what to call them, where they had like the little crisscross pattern. You kind of push on it and it would go, you know, screw automatically for you. But every once in a while, when you're putting in a lot of screws, which you didn't use back in the olden days because there wasn't automatic screwdrivers or nothing. Anyway, I don't know. I'm assuming you put shit back together back in the day before air tools. And now there's air tools, and I watch people put stuff together, and I wonder if they even could put shit together like in olden days. Not even that olden those days, like, but you know, a couple of decades ago before the air tools ruled everything. As I
I
see
got
people framing and shit, they don't have a hammer.
I got to get every new tool that I needed at work, and they paid for it. So when air tools came along, and they were around long before.
I mean, they've
This.
always been around, sure, but they weren't really like readily available to regular, even contractors and shit.
Basically, we had
80s, 90s.
when we finally got a compressor that would do it. Uh, I went out and I bought the best air tools I could get my hands on, and I researched it. And, you know, I ran Ingersoll Rand air hammer or air.
Naylor.
No, it's not a nailer. It's just impact. It's a driver, impact driver. Can't think what to call it now. Impact wrench
Yeah, impact driver.
that would do like 700 foot-pounds of torque at 105 or something psi of air pressure. We were running 160. So, you know, this thing was beating itself to death, and I was buying one every couple of years. I don't know, man. I got spoiled by it. I don't want to use a fucking wrench, but I don't have to. But I had come from
Oh,
the days before having air or Jesus Christ, back in the day to get a swivel type of deal on your ratchet, you had to have one of them spring extensions made out of spring material so that the extension itself would bend. The knuckles that you could get weren't worth a shit. They would break too damned easily. Buddy, you said a fucking lot right there. Old age does hurt.
oh, I know what it's
Uh,
like. I got pains that don't go away. I imagine it just gets worse all the time.
Something else I was going to say, and I can't remember it.
Tools.
I knew he was talking about tools, but there's something else. I
Looking at like even when I was working still, like really working, they'd come in to drop a ceiling or whatever, and I can remember in the olden days, and you'd walk all around trying to figure out get thing plumb and shit, and then leveling it, and chalk lining it, and leveling it, and chalk lining it. You'd still screw up once in a while, right? And now,
yeah,
or we'd have a guy come in and do a drop ceiling in a restaurant. 5 minutes later, he's got this little stupid thing on a ladder, zip, and there's like a freaking laser line around the whole fucking room, and he just goes around, click, 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 with a little air device, click, 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 click. And I'm like, we're paying you? Like shit. I would tell the boss, like, let's not pay this guy. Let's just buy me a laser, and I'll get this shit done in the same evening. And now we didn't have to pay no contractor. But anyway, I don't know. We don't talk. But we used to have a tool show on Saturdays, but just maybe think about that. All the air stuff and whatnot. I wonder if when you go to contract and trades, if they must still teach you the old ways so that you know and appreciate the new way, right?
I would say a lot of guys out there probably never realized that they did make hammers specific for people, meaning different weights. I've seen somebody even trying a left-handed hammer. I didn't know that it made a fucking bit of difference. I never tried it.
No, I think there seriously is a left-handed hammer. Like you saying with the grips, though, it's just something about the whatever. It's made to be a little bit lopsided, so it's more ergonomic or whatever.
Yeah, there's something to it, but I've never tried one. I like a 17-ounce hammer. I don't know if I like it anymore because I haven't used one in fucking 30 years. But when I did roof and do some home repair for quite some time when I just got out of high school, and I didn't like 16-ounce hammer, and then I found a 17 that I liked, and the next size up that was at the place where we shopped, which was some contractor place in Mobile, Alabama, was 20, and I wasn't gonna swing that motherfucker all day. And ever since then, I want a 17-ounce fucking hammer. I don't have one now. I got a 16 and I got an 18, but I don't use them either. One thing that I was going to say a while ago was I remember my boss's dad had a garage put up, and they touted part of the reason he chose the company was they touted that it was all screwed together. And he goes down there one day while they're working on it, and they're driving the fucking screws in with a hammer. He said, "Hey, this is not what I want." And they had to take it all down and redo it.
Well, yeah, I don't think it would stay together. That would just be weird. It would be drilling little holes basically and then plugging them and not ever really.
It would be just like using ring shank. They would stay. I mean, maybe not through as much as a screwed in properly would, but they would stay there. Ring shanks don't fucking back out either, except on roofing panels. I've seen that a lot.
No.
Every probably 4 years at work, I have to get up and check for nails coming out on the roof, and I think that's because of the expand and contract of heat. That pole barn steel is, steel, so it'll expand and contract with heat and cooling. So, but I'm just speculating. I don't know. I just know that I had to do it. Now that I think of it, the new building we had, which was steel frame, but it had wood stringers in it, I never had to do any of that. They were all screwed in. That's why I never had to. So yeah, screws are better than nails. When I put up one down at my old house, a 42 by 42 pole building, right over my garage, and I did this all by myself, no help whatsoever. And I screwed that whole motherfucker together. I mean, I bought 4-inch long freaking screws to screw the trusses up, 3-inch long screws to screw the freaking 3.5 probably. Anyway, whatever length screws to screw all of the girts on. I didn't want that fucker to ever come down. And because I built it over an existing garage, I couldn't get the fucker true because I could not cross measure the damn thing. So I was about 4 inches off when it was all said and done. But that was pretty easy to hide. And I didn't get it. It was for myself anyway. Looks didn't really matter. I just went building to store shit in.
I can remember the first time we put together, it was, shed or whatever, little mini barn or whatever, but using all screws when we first got the screw guns and how fast it went up. And man, that was just bees fucking knees, man.
Well, I didn't care so much about the speed as I was wanting to make it as strong as I possibly could. If I ever do it again, I'll glue them together too.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. They're so much stronger. It was crazy. And it was faster.
But I used all the those little brackets that go on the side to put boards in for the roof. I screwed all them in, screwed the boards into them, plus threw the stringers into them also. This some bitch ain't coming down. But I used 2x4 trusses. So I had to make sure that they were going to handle a snow load because they weren't meant to be this big. I made the trusses myself. And I copied off another trusses where I got the idea, design-wise. But it stood there. I know it's had 14 inches of snow on it because I lived there when it did that.
That's about as much as you can expect.
Yeah, it starts getting that heavy, it starts sliding off.
And I guess there's difference though. There's like 14 inches of wet snow and there's 14 inches of dry, flaky snow where it's all powdery. Probably a
we
big
don't
difference.
have that accumulate on the roof.
Well,
Usually, if we have the dry, powdery snow, there's wind. Oh, well, anyway, it's still standing. The guy that bought the property put the door on the other side of it towards his house instead of toward the street on the other side. But that's fine with me. I mean, I don't give a shit what it fucking is to it. He bought it.
Well, I guess we got to kind of sidetracked on tools there, but I was saying before I've been doing the 2A project, and I was digging into that Daisy company, trying to figure out when that damn guy who started Daisy was born, and how old he was when he died, and trying to research that. I dug into some little thing I didn't know before. When they first made BB guns, right, there was a couple of different companies making them, and they were toys and everything, but they were made to run off of, they weren't called BB guns, they were called air guns, and they made them to run off a lead shot. I never thought about that, but they were shooting lead shot for the longest time. Then during the war, everything got difficult to obtain, and they started making BB guns more like toy guns out of wood instead of BB guns out of metal. And the lead, I guess, became difficult to obtain. So the kids switched to little ball bearings. They would get ball bearings out of something and shoot little ball bearings, and they would start to break their guns because the things were made to shoot lead. And they have some kind of lifetime warranty, so they were getting all these guns back, and that made them think, hey, what's going on here? These kids are shooting an alternative. Anyway, long story short, they figured out that the BB gun, the ball bearing company figured out kids were shooting them, started marketing BBs to them, and at some point, Daisy bought one of the BB companies. I'm sure the other companies did the same, and then they eventually went to the, I guess, whoever it is that does, I guess there's the industry, and said, hey, if you're going to be making stuff for us, let's all make it in the same caliber. It was just interesting, and I've really thought about the evolution of that stuff, but certainly there, and it's written. Each of the companies has their histories up, which are interesting to read, and then lots of just enthusiasts, people that dig it and are interested in finding the history or sharing it, have websites up there that talk about the various angles on the history of the development, I guess, of the BB guns. So anyway, just thought I'd throw that out. Everybody's interested.
We talked about that a bit yesterday, about the guy who was Daisy, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a research shit for this show, I'm sure, and the first thing that popped up on the search was the information that we found about the guy from Daisy.
Right.
And I wasn't searching anything to do with Daisy or BB guns, or probably not even guns, because it really caught me by surprise that showed up right after we had talked about him. And again, it didn't say when he was born, it said when he died.
What did it say about when he died?
It was like early 1900s, if I remember correct, like before 1910, so 1900 something.
Okay.
No, but it just popped up, and it would have been a couple hours after the show, I suppose. Much more than that, I'd be out way somewhere else and not even think about it.
Yeah. That's just Google, I guess, paying attention to what we talk about all the time and then trying to give you what you're looking for.
Well, it's just proof that they're listening, because we talked about it on the show. I didn't have researched anything about the dude or nothing online. Well, yeah, I did yesterday morning too, come think of it.
Well, it's still creepy. Take one search, but it might be just, I don't know. It's creepy. Maybe it knows you're in this show and it looks and listens to the transcript of the show. It does transcript.
Hey, give us a thumbs up and check out our Patreon then, cocksuckers.
All right, well, we've been going for like an hour or something here. I'm going to take a second and jump over to the gun channels, take a look at what's been going on.
Yeah, I want to, before we get out of here today, I want to answer some questions on reloading that I've been putting off. I've got more emails concerning that than anything. But go ahead. I just want to let you know I want to do that today.
Oh, no problem. Do you got them handy or?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I have to just notice I haven't put the new schedule up here, so I'm going to do that real quick.
Basically, what I'm going to lay out here is a list of do's and don'ts, or mostly don'ts. I'm not going to do specifics, and you shouldn't really trust anyone who offers you up reloading data blindly. It's a great way to get yourself hurt, or worse. All right. Reloading issues. First one on the list is failure to start with loads recommendations in the loading manual, which is basically what I just covered. it seems to be a common myth that, or a common idea that the guys who write these reloading manuals fudge the high end of the loads as a safety margin. And I have actually written Ogden and Hornady, two datas that I use. I haven't got around to Richard Lee yet. I should. And they say, no, that's absolutely the limit, pressure-wise. While your gun may take more than that, you're risking yourself by using hotter loads. They don't put a freaking cushion on the end of it for liability's sake. The maximum load is at the pressure that they're saying it's at, which is the limit of what your gun's supposed to take. Second one, again, the same damn thing I just said. Loading data from unreliable sources. Don't trust them. You can get loading data from any bullet manufacturer of the big ones. Hornady, Spear, there's a bunch more, but they'll have loading data for their bullets. So you can go get it there. Buy a fucking manual. I mean, it's $20, if that. You can buy a used one. It doesn't matter that much. It may not have some of the latest.
I mean, I'm cheap, of course, so I got something with it when I bought my stuff because I bought it used off of somebody. So I got whatever they gave me, and then I went out and got whatever. There's like the three big ones, right? So they gave me the one with the stuff when I bought it, and then I went out and bought a used one. I mean, it could be a couple of years old, but for the most part, you might miss a few of the brand new hot loads or whatever, which you can get online, right? Print them out and stick them in your book.
Yep.
But you get 99% of the stuff you need in a book, or I mean, in a book that's a few years old.
Hell, to be honest with you, all the loads that I use are stuff I printed online, printed off a line from the Hudson site.
What I like about having the three books is if you're at all curious or you're sitting there bored and you're trying to figure it out and you just want a little bit more data, it gives you that 3 points of view on it.
Yeah, and I have the three big ones. Lee's, I believe it's Hornady, and Hodgson, or Lyman. Shit. Third problem that reloaders tend to make a mistake is in not fully resizing the case properly. Either you full length resize it or you neck resize it, but you need to do either of those properly. And they go into some detail about people trying to neck size with their full length die, and they say it can be done, but I don't see how. Unless you're decapping all these bastards by hand. Because to get the freaking primer out, you have to full length it. So they say if you want to neck size it, buy a neck sizing die. Yeah. I did neck size it when I first started reloading because I bought that Lee loader, the little hand thingy that you use a mallet. And I didn't notice any problems with rounds not being full length. I just do it now because that's what dies I got. I don't really care. Number 4 problem is failure to check brass for cracks. You want to keep an eye on your brass. That's pretty simple. I don't particularly see where the brass crack would be super dangerous, but I mean, I suppose it could be a problem with pulling the bullet out if the bullet sticks in the start of the rifling, or you have tubular magazine pushing the bullet back in while it's in the magazine. But that to me wouldn't be a big thing. I mean, just check it. It's pretty easy to figure out if you've got a cracked case.
Do you do some kind of like step in the process where you inspect each one individually, or do you just like incorporate that as you're putting it into the press?
Yeah, when I put it in the presses, when I'll know it, I can tell by feel if I got a cracked one, unless it's the very first case. But to be honest with you, in the past 4 years, I have not had a cracked case. So it's not that common. Here's one that I see people do and tout doing a lot, and they shouldn't, and that's improper primer selection. Just because it fits don't mean it's right. And for example, running Magnum primers where standard primers are called for. If you're running on the top edge of the pressure of the gun, when you put that freaking Magnum primer in there, you've just went over the pressure limit. It'll raise the pressure enough that it could be a problem. It shouldn't be. And there's really not a hell of a lot of reason for using Magnum or standard primers anymore. Now they're starting to offer ones that work for both, which is what I've switched to. Because, yeah, hell, I had fucking 8 different kinds of primer here. Yeah, 8 different kinds. What we got here? Not seating your bullet properly. There again, that if you don't seat it deep enough, it may not cycle. It may stick the bullet in the gun, in the riflings when you go to extract the case if you don't fire it. If you have the bullet seated to where it touches the rifling to start with, when you chamber the round, you could be dramatically increasing the pressure spike. I'm not one that's super consistent or picky about how much space that I have between the rifling and the end of the bullet, because usually I have a fair bit, because I run lightweight bullets for about everything. But that's something you want to be careful of. You want to be sure that you're not creating problems for yourself by having the bullet touching the rifling on loads that are at the top end. Failure to keep reloading dies clean. I don't recall that I've ever cleaned a reloading die. Once I get them set to where I want it, I don't want to take them suckers back apart. I haven't had a problem yet. Using powder not stored in its original container. All right, the reason for this is simple. You can't be sure what the hell it is. There's not a specific look for gunpowder to be able to look at it and tell what it is. And storing, number 10 is storing powder in your measure for a long time. That's mostly because the powder can react to the plastic and go bad. Not to mention making your freaking hopper cloudy. It's harder to see through, which is not a big deal. But it deteriorates gunpowder. It leaches out of plastic, I think. That's dope.
That was all the points you wanted to cover? Oh shit, he got kicked out. So I guess I will go over and check out what's going on gun channels. So we had a show yesterday, so this will just be the stuff that happened over the day and night. So we got our show posted here. We just posted. Travis was up early and posted a video about some bipod, I guess, with that Ruger American and 7.62 by 39 looking rifle. Dead Horse had a show last night on his Show and Tell channel. Clover had an interesting show for content creators talking about the elements of a piece of video content, such as the thoughts to the introduction to it and how you summarize the video at the beginning and at the end, and then once you've posted it to YouTube, the different elements involved in tagging it so that it can be most effective for you. This is bad news. Jelsma is saying he's not doing the show for a couple of weeks. This is unheard of, so we have to figure out what's going on with that. That's just sad to hear. I encourage everyone to go over who has listened to the shows and give them a little bit of encouragement. I don't know what's going on, but you never know with somebody if they're they're living their lives or whatever, their private lives or their business. But it's always nice to get them a little acknowledgement that you missed their show. And if you haven't listened to it, I encourage you to go back and listen to some. They do the Gun Gals on Sunday, which is awesome in itself. Then he does the news one, which I have not watched. But the Spec Ops one was one of my favorite shows during the week. So sad to see that's not going to be here for a few weeks. But I guess the absence will make our hearts grow fonder, and we'll stay tuned for that when it returns. Dead Horse again, talking about his show. Or I guess that was Dead Horse in the middle of the night last night. What is this? Would you do it? The guy served his friend. Oh, man, it's gross. What the hell's wrong with Pondery? Let's delete that shit. That's disgusting. Yeah, gun channels. When you post gross shit, I delete it. Tardot, special delivery alien gear holsters. I have not watched that one, but we're going to give it a thumb anyway since we're looking at it. Supreme Court polling dress code decision is a victory for the First Amendment. I think that's what it says. It's interesting. I don't know what I think about that. I always been okay with the idea that you can't wear political stuff within a certain amount of feet of a polling place. And people are just crazy. They give them an inch, they take a mile. So I can't imagine what weird things people are going to do now right in the middle of the polling place. So I liked that refuge from it. You know, at least where I vote, there's not commotion. You know, if there's somebody, it's one person maybe once in every once in a while when I'm voting, very rarely, and certainly not a big commotion. But I suspect that might open the way for some of that kind of business.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to exit out of the freaking
Yeah, I
room.
was like, oh, I guess you're done because you're really done. I was just going through the thing. We got Knives posting his. We had Ghost posted a spotlight on some of the channels he likes. And then, what was this? As Chris attempts to buy an assault rifle, I'm not interested in that kind of stuff usually. So if somebody wants to tell me that's worth watching, I'll watch it. But otherwise, Knives posted it. I'm not interested in watching that particular thing. And I guess I needed to refresh before I hit that button. But that's probably about what we saw over on gun channels. So check that out. Anytime you want to see something new or interesting that has to do with guns, the gun channel's main page will probably get you in a direction or two. Now I'm going to jump over to the Daily Gun Show, or I mean to 24/7 Gun Show, and see what we got going on over there. Looks like some of the auctions re-initiated or whatever went through again. Got that SIG brace and the M60 parts. I don't know if we looked at these yesterday, or if we looked at the SIG brace yesterday. These are just a couple of random parts I found for an M60 one time, and I got them at a deal. And I was going to use them for some kind of a project. I never did. So I'm going to pass them along over on the gun show. Were you done with the reloading stuff, Tony?
Yes, I was.
Okay. So I don't know if there was anything worth hitting over there on the main news. There was the thing about holsters, the spotlight. There was this idea of The Supreme Court said it's okay to do whatever you want at a polling place. So now you can wear a politically, um, motivated shirt at a polling place. Do you have any opinion on that one?
I wonder if I can carry a gun.
We don't have that one.
Uh, no, I don't give a shit. This is not an area that's going to see much in the way of problems at polling place. So it doesn't really matter to me.
Like I say, yeah, that's one of those things where I don't see it being a consequence here in Arizona either. But I suspect there are going to be some places where, they've either intentionally or for whatever reason created, what do they call them? Voting areas where, they've got people that are opposed to each other, and they might, who knows? We'll see. Maybe it will just be a inspiration for more conversation so that people can talk while they're in line and maybe form a better educated opinion about what they're about to vote on.
Well, unless they start doing stuff to interfere with voting, I don't have a problem with that sort of thing. I really don't.
Now, if it encourages people to go vote, like, oh, I can wear my T-shirt, I'm gonna go vote now. Then good, go fucking vote.
If that's your reason for going voting, I'm not sure I want you to do that.
Well, I figure for every extreme, there's one on both sides. So if there's some kid out there who didn't want to, or it was only didn't want to vote because he thought the country was too fascist because he couldn't wear his thing, that could be describing a left or a right.
Well, here's a hint, kiddies. You don't change shit without voting. So, hey, there you go.
Yep.
And that goes especially for our side. This November, when it's time, motherfuckers get off your ass and go vote. We need like 90% participation. But enough of the bitching at the listeners.
um, I'm getting tired. So Hilo says vote by mail. Secret fishing mission. I don't know what that is. Oh, where Jesma is going. Yeah, probably shark slaughter. Hashtag shark slaughter. Oh, Relativity is saying he can carry at his polling place. I'm pretty sure Arizona polling places were one of the places we're not supposed to. And
I can carry in my polling place also until they put the polling stuff in there.
Yeah, once they put that up, and I don't know. I guess I can see that. Nobody needs people walking around with some kind of rifle when there's could be considered intimidation.
I did poll and carry when I went to the polls. And fuck, I ain't taking my gun off unless I got passed through a metal detector.
Plus, it's easier to mark those holes, and you don't have any, hanging indecision or anything. You just
right
wad cutter.
Yeah, use full wad cutters and be clear. Jesus, can you imagine if people started their votes by their ability as a shooter? We would be fucked.
You're like, oh, I want to vote. Oh, who did I vote for? Oh shit. The radicals, the people on the far extremes, would get more votes.
Honestly, in this particular area, especially in my community, the gun thing is not an issue. I mean, we're pro-gun, and I think it's been generationally passed on. Now, society keeps going in the way it is. Eventually, that shit might seep in, but we're fairly stoked with common sense here. So, at least most people I know are. And there's several of us in town that are always carrying a gun. But I don't see it being an issue in my lifetime. I mean, the only issue I would see myself having is with the fucking cops who are scared of me. without a gun. I mean, so I don't know if I interact with them. Well, yes, I have interacted with them since I've been carrying, so that wasn't a problem either. And they know I carry because, for one, they get to get notified whenever they run my license. And I don't really make it a big secret either. All right, let's get the hell out of here.
Get out there. Sorry about that. Yeah, so shit, I was literally asleep right there. Was I?
Good day, everybody.
I don't even have a song. So yeah, thanks everybody. We'll see you. Oh, it's Friday, so we'll see you back on Monday. Travis is tomorrow. A couple of Friday things happening tonight. So you can check the schedule out on Gun Channels. We just posted that. And I guess we'll be back here on Monday.
Should be, yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody.